Razvan for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. With me on Zoom, former world title challenger Eric Molina. Eric, you're in the gym, man. You must have got some goosebumps after that fight.
Man, you know what? I think the entire card, but in my opinion, the co-main event, the main event for heavyweight boxing, man, that's really what it's all about. 4 different countries representing, and it was just good for boxing and good for heavyweight boxing.
Talk to me about the fight. I know we broke the fight down in our last interview earlier in the week. Joshua seemed like he had improved slightly, but did you expect him to do a lot more and engage a lot more with Usyk?
You know what? I felt he did a little bit better as far as going to the body. You know, I think I spoke to you about what I felt with the strategy. I think the jab was coming out okay. He did start off with going to the body first, but I think in order to get to Usyk, you needed the 4, 5, 6, and 7 punches combinations. The first 3 or 4 were really going to be throwaway punches, and you needed to hit him with the 4, 5, 6, 7. It needed to be uncomfortable for him. It needed to be rough on the inside. And there were spurts of it throughout the fight, but it was definitely not even close to the amount to win the fight.
Why do you think that was? Because I've just spoken to Spencer Fair here from the UK, and he said that there were signs of him throwing combination punches, but it just wasn't enough. And we saw when he did, he had Usyk in trouble in parts of it.
Right. Of course, you know, you're asking Joshua to do something that he doesn't do very strongly. So, you know, Joshua's a big puncher, but you know, he's not a big body puncher, and also he's not that heavyweight to make it scrappy on the inside, and he's not that guy that's going to throw the 4, 5, and 6 aggressively down low, up to bottom. So, you know, everything sounds easier to do from the outside, but of course Usyk's moving around and stuff, so I get it. But you know, in order to beat Usyk, you know, it's characteristics that Joshua is not great at. And he exploits Joshua's weaknesses, and even overall, even after the fight, Usyk exploited all the weaknesses of Joshua. He brought them all out tonight.
I know we spoke about Joshua teaming up with Robert Garcia and a new team and the pressures of working with the new team, but there were comments made throughout the rounds where Robert Garcia was saying, you know, you're winning the rounds, you're winning the rounds.
Oh.
Now, I know sometimes coaches do that to spur their fighters on, but
right.
Do you think that was, I know it's hard to say, but do you think it was Robert being genuine that he was winning the rounds, or was he actually trying to spur them on?
You know, it comes down to this, and I spoke to you in the interview. You get an individual that has little to no experience in world heavyweight title fights, and that's what you get. And obviously Joshua was not winning the fight as his trainer was telling him. But I give a lot of credit to Roberto Garcia. I got a lot of respect. He's a great coach, but he is not a great heavyweight boxing coach. And I said that earlier in the week, and I stand true to it today. Like I said, I'm a big fan of him and his family and his brother. But when it comes to the heavyweight division, this is a different monster. And I think that now he gets a little bit of experience in the title fights. Maybe he could potentially be better in the future. But I wouldn't have never went with Roberto Garcia as far as a world title fight goes.
Joshua had a very, very strong ninth round, and everyone thought, right, the momentum is now with him. He comes in round 10, and he should really start stepping on the gas. But all of a sudden, Usyk comes in round 10 and just spins it back into his favor. Shows how much of a great champion he is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This fight had it all, and it had 2 fighters that were really at the point. And I really think the co-main event had the same thing. 2 fighters that were hanging on for everything they had. They were fighting for something a little bit more tonight, and that's what made tonight even special on both fights. But you know, you got to tip your hat off for Alexander Usyk. And I was sitting down there hearing the verdict, the judges, and I said my only hopes was please get this right, because you know, with so many things going wrong in this world, you know what I mean. I felt like tonight's fights kind of bring some ease to the world. It brings a good feel to the world. You know, we're in uncertain times, and just for the people in Ukraine and everybody, you know, this is a good thing for them.
When you heard that it was a split decision and one of the judges paid 115, 110 Joshua Fair, did you think, oh no, not again?
Well, you know what though? That's what I started to think, but I didn't want to really go off until I heard the whole thing. You know, Raz, is that it's a shame that boxing doesn't hold some of these judges accountable, man. And I said this in a lot of bad decisions, is that the name of that judge we won't remember it next week, and he might be sitting in the next big fight. And it's a shame that boxing repeats itself this way, and we don't hold these judges accountable and say, "Hey, I needed to know what you saw in this round and explain this to me," because I don't see how anybody could see how Joshua won that fight. And then I think it was at 116, 113 or something. Yeah, I can't see that. And we got to start holding some of these judges accountable, man. And it's but overall the right guy won. That's the main thing. It was good for boxing, it's good for the world, and so it was salvaged in the sense of the right guy winning.
Errol was going for Joshua at the end. He embraced Usyk, and then all of a sudden he picks up the WBA belt, the Ring Magazine belt, lifts it in the air, and just throws it, and then he has to be held back by members of his team, and he seemed like he was very, very emotional.
I've always said this, and not only in boxing, but in many aspects of life, is that you could tell a lot by a man by the way he wins and the way he loses. And tonight, I think there was a side of Joshua that was revealed to the world. I heard some of the comments that he made, and I would have liked to have heard him get up to the mic and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm with the people with Ukraine. I'm with world peace." And it's a perfect opportunity to do those things and be that guy. And instead, he got the mic and said something completely opposite, man. And I think he's going to receive a lot of criticism for that. I don't agree with the way he handled himself. And again, I blame his team also, man, because his team could hold him back from himself there after the fight. Sometimes it's better to say nothing. It's better to just congratulate the fighter and go on with it. I handled my losses the way I handled them, and I just didn't agree with that.
Lennox Lewis put a tweet out and he said, "Usyk, Fury, it's been 19 years since there was an undisputed champion. Is this the time?" We know Hrgovic obviously is close now to that IBF belt. We know Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce are close with the WBO. We know Daniel Dubois is close with the WBA. So those belts might get fragmented very, very soon. So is this now the time that we finally get an undisputed champ?
You know what? I think that we are backed up against the corner now. You have what is it, maybe like a week left for Tyson Fury to make a decision. And if he relinquishes his belt, some of these belts might start getting split up, and which it's happened before. Maybe Usyk might not want to defend all the belts every time he fights. But once you start thinking of all these different possibilities and the undisputed is out the window, it's hard to say what could really happen after that. I would like to see it. I think it's great for heavyweight boxing. I'm actually looking forward to see how Tyson Fury is going to criticize Joshua on the way he acted after the fight. I felt like his true colors came out there, and I know that he let a lot of people down in the way he acted, and he needs to be held accountable for, in my opinion. So,
Eric, I appreciate you jumping on short notice as well and giving me a few minutes of your time. This will be posted hopefully early hours of the morning in the UK, and I'll catch up with you very soon.
Yeah, all right, man. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Eric Molina, IFL TV, thank you very much.
One hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.